there.
Welcome to
Overbooked and Opinionated, our book club podcast
with Liz,
who, and Gimme.
Nice. Hey folks, Editor Liz here, popping in before we start real quick. I just want to apologize for the poor audio quality for this episode. This is the first one that we ever recorded, and as such, we didn't realize how bad the room echo was until it was too late. And we didn't want to re-record this episode because you wouldn't get an authentic conversation between all of us, and we thought this was more important. So that being said, if this is too irritating, if the sound quality bothers you too much, please feel free to skip this one and go on to the next. If you're still interested in our thoughts about Onyx Storm, there will be a full transcript on our website, and I will leave a link to that in the show notes. See you guys.
Yeah, baby. It's about time. I'm so excited. Are you guys excited?
I'm so excited, but before we get too excited, please tell the people what they need to know.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to start with a spoiler-free review, okay? We're going to talk about the book, and we're going to do our best to leave any spoilers out of it. We will let you guys know before we start getting into the spoilers of the Onyx Storm book, okay? A little bit of background. This is the third book in the Empyrean series, all right? Which means there's 2 books before it. If you have not read those 2 books, I strongly recommend you get off of this episode because you will find things out that you're not meant to know yet.
We'll be here when you're done.
Don't worry, babe. Just click it. You can find it, search it. It'll be on there, okay? So definitely, we're going to hit some spoilers, and we will let you guys know before we start talking about it. You can stay on for a bit and then hear the synopsis of the book, and then we'll let you guys know when to head out if you haven't read the book.
Yeah. Just for absolute clarity, anything from Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, or anything Rebecca Yarros has said in any interviews on any social media is fair game. After our spoiler-free review, we'll give you a few seconds to click off before then. And then, last but not least, Gams got fired from saying this because she immediately would have gotten us in trouble. We are an adult podcast, and we say adult things about adult books. We are going to say bad words. We are going to talk about sexy time. And just be careful of who's listening alongside you. Or if that's not your thing, you know. There are other podcasts out there. Don't do it.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, guys, you've been warned. Fuck. We needed to get it out.
She got it out. We're good.
We needed to get it
All right, let's start with that spoiler-free review. Who do you want to start us off?
Okay. That's fine. Who's a little shy sometimes?
No, it's beyond that. I'm the spoil queen.
Hold on, because she actually is. All right, we have a group chat, and it gets violent in there, okay? Because someone sends spoilers in the group chat. Cardinal sin.
We're pointing at Pooh.
Literally.
I have to read it later.
So, Liz, why don't you start with the spoiler review?
Fantastic. So, if we're talking star rating, I gave this 3 out of 5. And honestly, I think that was pretty generous. Now, I am known to be a tough reader when I expect a lot out of books. But that being said, I think it honestly should have been a 2, but I was so in love with the first book of this series that that bumped it up a little bit for me. And I loved some parts of this. I loved seeing certain aspects of Violet get a little more developed. I loved seeing some side characters get a little more time. I absolutely fell in love with one of the side characters this book that I loved in the previous ones, but now absolute favorite. But it just had some issues with pacing, and I was not a big fan of the ending, and not just because it's typical Rebecca Yarros and how she does things. It just was frustrating for me. But I'll leave the rest for the non-spoiler-free section.
Wow. That was big. A 2?
Yeah.
A 2?
It's a 3.
Yeah, but
it's
you put it out there.
2.5. Can we do half?
Okay.
It's a 2.5.
Fine. That's fine. There's no rules. It's our podcast. All right. So I'll go next. Wow. That's so low. I gave it a 4. Okay. I gave it a 4. Couldn't do a 5 because I have some issues with this book, and I feel like giving it a 5 would have been way too generous. Fourth Wing is one of my 5-star reads. I was let down. I'm disappointed. And I really, maybe 4 is generous, now that I'm thinking about it. 4 might be generous, but I just love these characters so much. I love the world. I love the story. So she gets bonus points for that reason. It would be hard for me to pick it up if I wanted to give it a 2. You know what I mean? It would be hard for me to continue the series if I was giving something like a 2. I really loved the development and the progression of a lot of the characters. I thought that was so fun to see. We get a couple of different perspectives, which I think is really cool. That's interesting. She hasn't done that yet, so that was like really cool to see kind of play out.
That's not true. There was one chapter from Dating's POV in the second.
Oh my god, one chapter. Bleh.
She's also written bonus chapters on a website, but that's not the point.
Yeah, that's not the point. The point is like the
But
perspectives.
it's like, those were the two main. You know?
Yeah.
You
Right,
gotta
right,
accept
again,
that
spoiler
she
territory. Cut it off there. Cut it off there.
See, we told you. We warned you.
I wasn't gonna spoil. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
she said, the book is, she made it clear, like, the book is about them two. Without them two, there's no storyline.
Yeah.
So
she
for
did say
her
that.
to show us other people was a big thing. Because we loved more characters than just them two.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Who?
I gave it a 4 stars, but I was very excited after I finished it. There was so much hype and so much weight. And I don't necessarily know if I agree that it still needs a 4, but a lot happened in the end, I'll admit, and I deep dived online right after.
Oh, of course she
And
did.
the theories got to my head before I did my
Of
review.
course she did.
I think I would definitely lower it a little more. There's a lot of things I loved, but it felt like as far as the pace of the other ones and where they were at, it kind of felt like she backtracked to world build
Yeah.
after we were in the middle of stuff in the second one, and it just felt like you went back to build everything up. We already know all this. It was nice to see a different perspective, but you didn't have to go backwards to show us.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I do want to really quickly add, which I didn't touch on in my spoiler-free section, that she did expand the world in ways that I thought were very interesting, if not actually 100% necessary for the plot, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
which
thought
I
it was
enjoyed.
annoying. I thought it was
Yeah.
annoying.
Really, I did like it. I loved it, and I think that was part of the reason. Like, I gave it such a high review because even though I was mad she went backtrack to worldview, I did love some certain parts.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And that was what really even though I'm mad in terms of where it left the plot and the progression, I felt like a third book should have done, and the size of it, I still did love what I got.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
All right, I can tell everyone is itching. So here is your final warning. We are heading into spoiler territory once again for everything from Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, and anything Rebecca Yarros has ever said about this series, interviews, social media, all that good stuff. So if you haven't read them,
I'm
not
not
doing
shit.
Warning. Please exit now.
we'll see you guys once you finish it. All right, you get 3, 2, 1. All right, if you're not gone, it's on you.
Rebecca, what the fuck? First, okay, I think we need to give our average rating.
Okay, yes. So that's what I was doing on my phone a few seconds ago. Between the three of us, that is an average of a 3.4 rating overall for this book, which seems really low for an Imperial series book.
I would agree. The other books were a lot better, guys.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
a lot better.
I think all of our opinions, right? This is everyone's least favorite.
Yeah. Yes, and I was so excited, okay? So, you know what? I'm just going to start. I'm sorry, guys. I have a lot to fucking say, so I'm going to start, okay? Let's start with the characters, okay? Wow, I really fell in love with some of these characters. I know, I'm, ready to complain, but, with my likes about this book, I fell in love with a lot of these characters, okay? I've always been a big Bodhi fan, but, I really... Yeah, I really like Bodhi. So I really liked the Bodhi stuff. I really liked the Riddick or Rydek. You know what?
I think Riddick.
I think it's
100%
Riddick.
sure.
Yeah, I see Riddick.
But I really loved his chapters, and you know what? Really loved getting to see the interactions between dragons and their
Oh my god, yes!
their riders. That was so cool. That was a really nice touch. I know she said that she's never going to do a perspective from the dragons,
Which I get.
whatever.
I get.
But
We can fight about that. But
this was cool. This was really cool. We got to see a lot of the dragons and their relationships, which we didn't see before. So I thought that was really interesting to me.
For sure.
I hate the Dark Wielders. Just really, yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think the girl.
This is the first I've heard this review. This is wild.
I know. Oh my god. So I think the what is her name? I hate her so much. Theophany. I can't stand her. I think she's annoying. I just don't like the way that she wrote this character. I feel like for someone who's supposed to be so ancient, okay, and who has been practicing magic forever. Why would you make her like that? Why would you make her so annoying?
She's very childish.
Right? She's childish.
I'm better than my brother.
Yeah, like
You
like,
guys are crazy, but I actually thought Theophany was so interesting.
It's not that I don't think she's interesting, because I do in terms of I felt like she gave the world to Violet.
Yeah.
Even as far as characters, because I don't particularly love Violet. I think she's very immature. So,
Okay, no, that's, yeah.
I think like, you know what I mean? I think it's kind of mirror seeing
oh.
with Theophany, and I think it's cool to see them together,
Yeah.
but, you know, that goes to say, if I don't love Violet, obviously I don't love Theophany.
Yeah.
Okay, but hold on, because Violet, sorry, y'all, Violet, babe, Violet, you didn't know she was a storm wielder? You didn't know? You just thought it was only lightning? Are you fucking kidding me? She put her in a tornado in the very beginning of the book when we fought Tarndine. What are you doing? Wait, how didn't you know? How didn't you know?
Did you know? Did you figure it out right away?
Yes.
I did not.
I was like, well, this is stupid. I was so pissed. I was like, yeah, okay. And she's like, they can have signets. And hers is lightning, like me. I'm like, no, she's like your mother. And when they talk about that at the end, like, so you're saying, like, no, she's supposed to be like Violet. No, she's not. She's like the mom.
Yeah.
She's like the general. Like,
Which I see, but I feel like in terms of characters and you know what I mean? Like, in terms of characters and matchup, you know, the book is laid out for, and Violet's the one who's fighting her. You know,
yeah, but
not her mom.
Don't they
so
say?
even though their signets are the same as far as characters, you know,
Yeah, but
it's them two going at each other.
there's an age
I don't
difference
know,
here.
but this is leading into theory territory, all right? I have a theory. I believe that the general, for the longest time, I thought it was her dad. I'm no longer, like, I think Asher's actually dead. I think that the general is Naolin. I think, you know, the Brennan's
Yeah.
undisclosed partner, whether or not they were together.
Oh.
I think the general is Naolin, and I think Naolin was a siphon, right? Like, we know that about him. I think he's going to kind of be the answer to Violet in some way. Like, he's going to have access to raw power. Like, in the end, Dane says that Sloane is life. That's what her signet is. I feel like he, in some way, is going to be that counter. But Violet is unique in that she has access to all of this raw form of power as a result of being attached to her Irid, to Andarna. So, like, that's where I think it's going. I think their personalities did vibe, but I have issues with Theophany. I liked her personality, and I liked the way she had, like, almost banter with Violet, and the way she kind of, like, teased her and, like, made it so she always seemed like she was a step ahead. But I think you're right. She did seem immature for a person who's supposed to be hundreds and hundreds of years old. But I feel like she was a plot device to introduce the idea of, like, a priestess being vulnerable to different powers other than the alloy-hilted daggers. I don't know. None of it was clean and tidy. Like, it was all a little messy for me. And I don't know. I went a whole scramble there.
I wish you
Yeah.
guys could see my face.
I
Right
think
now.
most of that book was
People on YouTube can.
I hate her. I'm sorry. For someone who's supposed to be doing, like, great work for the Dark Wielders, and, like, that's their weapon, like, what are you doing? What's happening?
You know
Yeah,
what I
you're
think
weak.
is
Like, this is
really
stupid.
interesting? The fact that this entire series is about Violet and Xaden, and in this whole time we've been yapping, which I know isn't long, he hasn't even come up yet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And he's such a major part of this book. Like, the entire plot of this
That's
book
my
is
part.
fixing his...
That's where we get into romance.
So, like, the entire plot of this book was based around fixing his venetism. I don't know if that's the right term. Fixing him being envenened, and, like, he doesn't feel that important other than, like, as a guy who's pushing
test
forward
dummy.
Violet's story to me.
He almost feels like a test dummy.
Yeah. Can you explain what that means to people who may not know?
It's like the kind of like non-important but important person, or, you know, that you experiment with. So it felt like, you know, she was kind of like, I'm going to save you because I have to, and I'm going to figure this out. But it, you know, it didn't feel like there was a whole lot of intention as far as, you know,
Yeah.
I love you and we're going to be together and I'm doing this because I love you. She almost made it sound like she owed him. Like,
yeah, I
it was
felt
lost
like
a little bit.
their relationship in this book seemed like a little forced and kind of annoying to me. Like,
Yeah.
my God, why do I have so many bad things to say? I feel like it was really just like she has like this hero complex where she can fix everything. And, you know, like, I think we talked about it before where it just shows like that she's naive. Like she's naive. She's young. And she thinks that like there's a cure.
But to
there's
be
a
fair,
fix
she is
for
what,
everything.
22 in this book?
She is. But you would assume that someone who's so well read and someone who has like a knowledge background, who's also been training in a war college.
Yeah,
like,
by this book, the amount of things that you've been through.
right. You can't still be
you
this
gotta grow up.
optimistic. Right.
Yeah.
Like you have to grow up. You have to like, I don't know. I just felt like with someone who is so knowledgeable, and is like we like to call her naive, but she's also like incredibly smart. She's incredibly like just she has been evolving, but like this book just felt like I'm reading a child, like a child's thought process. Like this is insane. And you know what? This stems like a little bit deeper where it was like, he loves me. He won't do that. He loves me. Like he's not going to do that because he loves me. Well, like that's not enough. He's a grown man. Okay. I know we're talking about like a fictional character here, but like he's a grown man, and really like this is just something that stems just in real life too. Like they're not gonna do things for you. Like if it's in him, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna bring this into like when couples have like depression or like anxiety, and they think like, oh, my partner's gonna like fix that. Like I can fix that. Like I can fix it. They're not going to be sad for me. No, that's not how it works, you dummy. I don't know if she like meant to do that, but that's what it was like very much giving me. Like he has this like impulse, this need to like do these things, and she's just like, no, he loves me too much to do that. No, man, no.
And she said like the way she acted and the things she said were so like counteractive.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to save him. I'm going to save, the kingdom. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that. But at the same time, you have no respect for the fact that this is his kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You are second. He doesn't owe you as much as he owes these people.
Yeah.
The things that he's been through for them before you were ever around.
Mm-hmm.
And she has no respect for that. You should be holding that up. You should be, the whole book he's trying to tell her, like, we have to plan for when I'm gone. And she's just like, you're not going to be gone.
So while I hear you, and from a logical standpoint and like just a practical one, you're absolutely right. But that's definitely been the one like standout thing about Xaden. The thing that like truly makes him a morally gray character is that that's never been his thing. He's never been like, yes, turned over, my people come first. It's always been Violet is first. I answered to Violet first. I answered her before the king. And like regardless of whether or not you agree with that, that's always been his thing. So I'm a little against you in that. But wait,
She put the talking stick.
She put me in a talking. She put her finger up at me, so I stole her finger. So no, but like another thing for Violet is, and I said this to you guys before, Violet is one of those characters. It's a huge trope in a lot of like romantasy and fantasy books that the protagonist is always described as this brilliant or clever woman. Violet actually feels like one to me. She comes up with clever solutions. She never takes like the path you expect her to. But this book made me rethink that a lot. Like there were definitely some sections where I was absolutely like, this is a brilliant solution. Like the whole thing, and I forget what the name of the island is, Hedotus, on Hedotus, the Knowledge Island, where she comes up with that like counter poison plan. That was brilliant. That was completely out of the box. And that's something that I would expect out of this, as Xaden would call her, brilliant fucking woman that we've watched for 3 books now and like grow into her own power. But like the whole thing, back to her naivety, how do you even say it? Naivety? Yeah. To her being naive, like it felt so frustrating for her not to accept that Xaden is a Venin and is not in full control of himself at the moment. Like, love is wonderful, and you do have to suspend some reality here because it's a romantasy book. Like, love conquers all and everything, but she's written such a gritty world that you expect a bit more verisimilitude, for lack of a better term.
I feel like she did that with more than one character in this book too.
Yeah.
I feel like I very much thought that Mira was strong. She stood on business. She's always been a strong writer, always been for the mission. And she was so petty in this book. And I understand like the family stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not taking you to grandma. Like, I'm not, like, come on, bitch. Like, come on. Like, the world's gonna end.
I'm gonna fight you on this one too.
So hold on, wait, because I need to go back. I'm a talking stick, and you bitches are me. Okay. So I didn't like Violet since Fourth Wing. I had issues. I talked to you about it. Okay, fine. Like she has grown on me a wee bit. Xaden is not Violet first. Xaden is Scale first.
No.
And we see that at the end of this book. We see that in the end of this book because they even say it. They say it multiple times that before anyone, and even in like those little paragraphs that they give you, like before the actual chapter starts, it says that the rider's first like duty is to their dragon. And like we see that at the end of the book.
That was something else that I didn't love about Violet in this one. I don't think she respected him in scale.
Yeah, you know what? Hold on. Here's like what really makes me upset about Violet. Like she was so quick to turn on Brennan. Or not Brennan, I'm sorry. Dane. She was so quick to turn on Dane, right? And like everything Dane did annoyed her, and like she learned that she needed to keep Dane like at a distance, and she was doing that in like a self-preservation way, right? Her closest friend since childhood. She's keeping him at an arm's distance for self-preservation. Xaden becomes Venom, and she's taking no steps to protect herself. That makes no sense. She's been shown for the past 2 books that everyone is out to kill her. Everything is not as it seems. Like her brother is alive. She didn't know that. Her family like donated her or like commit. What did they say? How did they say it when they like
oh my gosh, what's the word?
Yeah, like it's not committed, but
it's something. We'll have to
promised her to like So she's devoted. I think that's it. So she's like. All of these things and all of the closest people to her, except for Mira, right, have betrayed her. Like all of these people that are so close to her. And she's been able to distance herself from these people that have been really close to her before. So now Xaden, in terms of like self-preservation, she just has none. She has no thoughts. And you would think too with like her dragons like being tied to her that she would put her dragons first and want to keep herself safe in terms of self-preservation when it comes to Xaden, and she doesn't do that. And that just like it just
and that's something like I kind of like. I feel like she's such a selfish character, and that's why I can't love her because I just like it's always about you.
Yeah,
it's always about you. Like everybody should have stayed for you. Everybody should have protected you. You have no problem that Sigel and Xaden aren't speaking most of the book. Because he's for you. He's on your side. He's with you. Yeah. And it's like, like you never, it almost like she went through it when she got tortured and her communication got cut off with the dragons. And admittedly, that was early, But I kind of wished when they left that she had lost communication. Yeah. Just like everybody else did. Yeah. Because you're so fucking selfish. Yeah. You need to know what it feels like to have that lifeline cut off.
Yeah. I'm with you. I don't know. I think you make a point that she definitely doesn't think about him and Sigel's relationship being different, like other than a passing thought. And I don't know if it's because she understands why Sigel's pissed, because she's obviously pissed too, but not to the same extent because she basically just doesn't fucking care this whole book. But I think I have to backtrack and say you're right, Gammy. He is Sigel first, even if he doesn't realize it. I think that's the difference. Is he knows Violet first. Yeah. He doesn't realize that Sigel is first. And I do think it's an important point that while he turned Venom for Violet to save her, he turned Asim at the end of this book for Sigel. And he left Violet. And in doing so, he's essentially hurting her. The one thing that Violet said would be the one thing that would be like her hard limit of when he is now dangerous. Yeah. So I think that's going to be really interesting in the coming books to see if she recognizes that he is no longer the man that she fell in love with, at least in some capacity.
And to backtrack on your point about Violet being selfish, she is, except to her dragons. Like, if you notice, with Tarn, like, she doesn't want the easy way out with him. She doesn't want him to seem disgraced. She doesn't want him to, like, lower his shoulder because she doesn't want him to be, like, looked down upon. And with Andarna, I mean, she's ready to go on this fucking ridiculous goose chase for these Irids. Like, Andarna really pissed me off this book. Violet really pissed me off this book. I just was not. I think Tarn was like my only favorite character. Like, not my favorite, but Tarn was just like, I love you.
Okay, we have to bring up Riddick.
Okay.
Talk about my favorite character in this book. Seriously?
Fucks like a third.
Oh, shit. I fuck like a third. Oh my god, I can't. That was amazing. But no, so I always have a habit of falling for the comedic relief in any book or show I watch. Like, I'm a big Dylan O'Brien fan because I love Styles and T-Wolf. Like, I love those characters, and Riddick has always been that. But it was really cool and terrifying to see him kind of develop into more of a 3-dimensional character, to, like, see that, yes, he has the jokes and yes, he's hilarious, but like there's more to him than that. He's actually brilliant. He's actually incredibly powerful in his own right, despite having what's considered a normal signet or a common signet with his ice wielding. Like, and he cares about his people.
Oh, he does.
So deeply. He cares about Violet.
This group, like, when you really look at the things that they can do and the way they're looked at in this college, like, it's almost like there's a bottom plot line of, like, civil change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's ever looked at that signet as so strong, but then we see what he did, and it's just like, everybody's like, no one who does that should be able to. And they really, like, they change things in terms of how signets are looked at, because it really, you're only as strong as you make it.
Yeah.
You're only as strong as you work for it.
Yeah.
And it shows with all these characters who, like, every time they can do something new, it's like, how do you learn? And they're like, well, I was practicing because, you know what I mean? Like, even when they're not in classes, they're like, I'm going to hone the signet.
Yeah.
And it really, like, it strengthens them as characters.
Oh, absolutely.
I loved every character except for our main ones. Like, I loved her squad. I love her wing. Like, I love them. They're all incredible characters. I know they're like background characters, you know, they're supporting characters, but they really like shine in this book. They really shine, and I really liked it.
I don't like.
We're gonna fight.
How do you not like
Serenity? I don't know. I don't want to say I don't like her. I want to say, like, let's put it this way. When she showed everybody's point of view with their dragons, when hers came up, I was like, we'll make it through.
Oh my god! No!
So, I'm the biggest Imogen
Yes,
stan.
me too!
Oh my god, I think she's so cool. I think she's such a strong, badass character while still being, like, incredibly engaging, like, not too standoffish. I just fucking love her. And admittedly, I'm a sucker for aesthetics, and, like, I love the way she's described in this book. Like, I kind of want to dye my hair pink and get a side shave.
And the beautiful little gay queen that she is, I'm just...
Not gay, she's in Garrick.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. She gives me bi vibes. Okay,
That's true. That could be possible.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I ever bought into the Garrick thing.
Queer energy.
Yeah, maybe.
But
maybe it's just me projecting.
Oh my god. The chapter she literally talks about, like, Queen's big thing while she's dying is to say, tell Garrick you love him.
Yeah, but that was giving gay as well. Them two together.
Yeah, and it was almost like, I don't know. I never got the Garrick thing from her.
Yeah,
I think I always got it with Quinn.
I feel like that's a little formed.
Like,
right.
maybe Quinn had the girlfriend, and maybe there was some, you know, like, I read too many romances, and I read, you know, into the lines too much, but maybe, like, at some point she couldn't choose between both.
Yeah.
You know, and Quinn was like, you know, it's time to move on. Like, if you can't pick, I can't wait.
Yeah, that's
so
what I was
even
saying.
in the end, you know,
we know
it
Quinn's
seemed
gay.
exactly like
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
Like, I still love you, you know, and I had to move on.
Yeah.
But don't lose both of us. You know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
chase it. Find it.
We'll see what happens. I don't know.
I mean, there's no chance now, but
Rest in peace.
listen, we haven't touched on this yet. But, well, yeah, you said Riddick. My guy in this series is Garrick. So, like, I don't want him.
Yeah.
Because I don't like her. So maybe that's why I don't like her.
Oh, God. That's it. That is it. How did we not see this?
Bro, literally, my cousin growing up, this is only barely related. My cousin growing up hated
What are you
Wendy
about to say?
from Toy Story because she loved Woody and she thought that they were dating, and her life exploded when my mother told her as an adult that Woody dated Little Bo Peep in Toy Story and not Wendy. Her whole life was a lie.
She was a hoe. Sorry.
Oh my god. You give me the same energy though. Like, don't like her just because.
I don't know. I just, like, there was never any point, like, other than, like, I don't know. Like, you guys are talking about her aesthetic, and I agree. Like, it's everything you want to see in this kind of series. But, I mean, can you really pinpoint a scene where she was kind of like,
I think
you're that bitch? Because for me, there wasn't one.
Well, first of all, her loyalty to Xaden, her unquestioning loyalty to Xaden. Like, she didn't trust Violet for a damn, and she so quickly was like, I will spend every hour with her in the gym. I will make her strong for you, absolutely. Like, her loyalty to her people is incredible. So there's that, man. Okay, she spends like
That doesn't
every
make her
hour with
special.
her in the gym, though. Like, and she's the one
does.
doing that. Yeah, and she hated her. She hated her.
Yeah.
And she's like strictly doing it for Zayden.
But
And
I don't feel like she ever hated her either. She hated the idea.
That's fair. She
She
didn't know
hated
when
that
she hated her.
everything that they all went through, and he might end up with the general who hurt all of them. He might end up with her daughter. I don't think she ever really hated Violet because she didn't know her.
I don't know.
I think she hated the idea
I feel like
of
that's
what
fair.
she could.
I think she had
be.
reasons to hate her because I hate her.
So I think
Well,
she
we
had
know her. We were in her head the whole book. That's not the same.
But you know,
I don't know. I don't hate her. I'm indifferent. She didn't stick out to me.
You know who I want to talk about from this book? I want to talk about Sawyer.
okay.
So Rebecca Yarros has gone on record saying that Sawyer is the character who gets most overlooked and who she finds the most interesting. And
Really?
I kind of have questions because absolutely, like his whole journey, this book, despite it being only on the page for like a short percentage of this book, I thought it was actually really interesting. And I actually really enjoyed his relationship with Violet in this because him having to learn how to adapt to his new reality, not having a leg, and like relating to Violet in that her dragon has to make concessions for her to ride because her body doesn't work in the same way that other riders do. Like that doesn't make her any less of a rider, and it works the same way for Sawyer.
Yeah.
So I actually really liked watching that relationship develop. But at the same time, for somebody who you say should be looked at more, I feel like it's quite indicative that what you intend to get across in your writing is not the same thing that your audience is picking up on. Discuss.
I don't know. I like Sawyer, and maybe she's. I don't know because she's written a lot, so you're not a rookie, you know.
Yeah.
But it feels like she hooked on that for a second. Is that really meaningful? You know, like you're not less. You know, Violet told me you're not less
So sweet.
because you have to do this.
Yeah.
You're still a person. You're still a
I
writer.
loved that.
You know, you step on is still there. But it was like she caught it and threw back in. She didn't know how to keep it. You know.
Yeah, that's a great way to
felt,
describe it.
It felt like it was supposed to be about him, but it never came back to him. So in the end, it was more about Violet.
Violet.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's
So,
true.
I also I thought he was being a bit of a baby.
Okay.
Crickets.
I kind of no. I didn't want to be the dick.
Bro.
He's an amputee.
They make fake legs, bitch. Stop. Like, what? Like,
I feel like he gave me Dane vibes in this one. He was too honorable. He was too honorable.
no, yeah, I could never.
I'm too good to
Okay,
not
but
be
explain
like,
to me, right? You support Violet so much, but Violet has had to make these like concessions, and she's had to make sacrifices, and she doesn't do things traditionally either. And you're just like, my leg's gone, and that's me, bro. Like you're not missing a hand.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to fight you both on this one because, like, there's definitely points where it feels whiny as a reader, but like, they talk about it, how there's never been a writer who like continued to be a writer after losing a limb like that. Like he does have to completely like carve his own place out for himself amongst the writers and like allow himself to make those concessions. And I thought that was a fun journey to go on. I can understand why, as a reader, you would find his sections whiny, but I don't necessarily agree that he actually was.
I'm like, stop being a
think
bitch, bro. You
I
only
don't
lost your
think
leg.
he wasn't whiny. I think it was fair.
Yeah.
You know, I think what he went through, he was allowed to be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with everything else going on, it just kind of made him unappealing. You know, it's just like everybody's
Fair.
out here damn near death. You know,
Like,
people
shut
out
up,
here
shut up.
getting eaten
Yeah,
by
you-
giant cats.
Legit.
You know, like
Yeah. And you just lost your leg. Just shut up, put the prosthetic on, and get the fuck back in there because we need you. Like, now's not the time.
it was.
to have a
Yeah, I don't know.
party.
I think you
so
like
mean.
when a man. No, because you like when a character and like a man has honor, but there's a limit. You know,
Yeah, like,
there's
stop
a
being a
point where
puss.
being too honorable is just. It's just you're just not appealing anymore.
And you're not
you know?
helping anyone. You're not helping anyone. By you sitting there having like a tiny little pity party by yourself, you're not helping the squad at all. So like, yeah, you're dead weight, bro. Like, I think we're at like such a pivotal time. We have people that are actually like going out on like actual missions and fighting an actual war, and then there's him just
I think
I
it was
can't.
annoying, but it was deserved.
Yeah.
He was allowed to have that.
Yeah, like,
You know.
okay, sure. I know I have both of my legs. Okay, so I know that I'm saying this from a spot like,
it's just in comparison to the other characters. Like you said, it just feels like
people are going through real shit.
Yeah.
Like, can you?
you're
it's
not
losing
gonna die.
shit.
That's the bottom line. You're not gonna die. And everybody else is out here damn near death. Like these things have infiltrated the school at this point.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm gonna lay helpless instead when they
I don't
might
know.
already be here.
I'm gonna argue that I feel like if I were in his position, I can't speak to this. I have no idea. But I feel like he's probably more thinking, I don't want to be a liability than he is. Oh, woe is me.
And pity parties are not an attractive trait.
Which is valid, but yeah, I don't know. We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
I think
try.
it was deserved, but I didn't like it.
I swear, I am not ableist. Okay. I swear, I'm not. I just we're in a war college. You don't really have time to be sad.
Yeah. Okay, let's try and touch on the other sections from the CAWPILE section. So we've covered characters quite thoroughly, I believe. Let's talk about the atmosphere.
Because I better see more of that shit next book. That shit.
You're so right.
That is what I was looking for. Okay, that right there. And when he talked to Sloan, I was like, oh!
Eyes on me.
Oh.
Yes. That's what I was So
Yo,
now,
I was good with
how
that.
about you just in between writing the fourth book, just write us a little thing.
Just a Sloan and D and just,
All right, what's
Even
next?
if it's just fucking,
Okay, that's valid. Wattpad.
Yeah, where's the Wattpad artist?
Which I have dug into. But
Atta girl. Okay, let's talk atmosphere. I have questions if you guys don't have initial thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so how immersed were you in this story?
That's a good question. Do you want to go first?
I couldn't put it down, but none of us gave it a high rating. I don't think it was the book. I think it was more of the chase of the answers that I wanted,
I'm so with you.
And I did love the traveling, and it just felt ill-placed in the series. It just felt like it didn't go there.
Yes.
But I loved it. I loved seeing the other people and the other places, and it felt so awkward because it made the other books feel awkward because you never referenced anywhere else this whole time.
Yeah.
And then it's we're in between so many things, and you're like, go.
Yeah.
Travel for a couple chapters.
The addition of the islands definitely gave me that. She's mentioned other places and getting to see them naturally in Iron Flame, getting to see bits of Paromial and getting to see Orisha, that felt natural. Seeing the islands felt like my world doesn't feel large enough. Let me add this. And while I think there's some really cool world building, I love the idea that each island worships a different god, and there's some cool intrigue going on with the lack of magic, but Violet still being able to wield, even if she doesn't recognize it. We're all in agreement, right?
Yeah.
She wielded on the War Island.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, but it, like you mentioned, it felt forced to me. It felt like world building felt first, I need a plot device to get us there. Not this makes sense for the plot,
Yeah. Almost like she was filling it with something she forgot.
Yeah.
I didn't feel very sucked in by this one. I wasn't very immersed. I struggled to get through this book. Honestly, I mean, I was pretty busy, but there was no part, except for the very beginning, where I was just sucked in. And then once we finally met the Irids, I was like, ooh, okay. Yeah. So I had these moments where I was really on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my God. And then I was like, what the fuck? This is boring. And then kind of really struggling through that. And then I would get to another point where I'm like, oh my God. They got the Irids. And I'm freaking out about it. But then it was a huge letdown. And I'm just you know what? You're giving me whiplash. And I don't like this.
Yeah, it felt like she couldn't choose between what she wanted to focus on in this book.
Yeah.
The characters and the setting or the storyline itself. And it just they're they're counterintuitive, they go together, but you can't hop between both. You can't give us one and then stop to give us the other. It's just pushing us out.
It just didn't flow well. I just don't think it flowed well.
And I'm hopeful because she was very upset. She, said that she was very upset with having a timeline for this, for the publishing and stuff. And, it put pressure on her.
Yeah.
She's not going to for the fourth.
She's written
So I have really
books.
high expectations for the fourth one. And if she crushes me, I will never buy another one.
And
You're a liar.
I will buy 5. But after that, I'm trying romances? Hell no. Hell no. Because I can't believe in your writing if you're with no timeline, no publishers, and you still cannot get your shit together.
We're looking at you, George R. R. Martin.
Don't even. You want to talk about? Let's cover his blog about sports reviews instead of his books, because honestly, he writes more. Sorry, we're not doing this. Okay, but no, I'm with you and I'm not, because like I understand, like, she really struggled writing this book. She was very open with her struggle for writing this book, and she's written an incredible amount in a very short time. Yeah, and I can understand how that's stressful. Like, I'm not an author. Like, I haven't written any books, but I am a professional writer. Like, I write for a bunch of different stuff as part of my job, and I'm a D&D-er. Like, I write a metric fuck ton. And I know I can't personally imagine writing an entire novel in a year. And they're not, like, small. So, like, that's crazy. And she wrote 3 year after year after year, and that's not even counting her series outside of
all the
Imperium. Like, she's written an incredible amount. So I can understand why that's exhausting and frustrating. But at the same time, like, she is so popular at this point. Like, this series is so incredibly popular. Like, it's literally half the reason why Barnes & Noble is opening more stores in the coming years, because this series is so popular. Like, she could have pushed her timeline a little bit, I think. And I feel like her writing suffered a little bit in this book as a result. And I know we have different opinions on this. I know you guys are, like, chomping at the bit for the next book. And I am too, but I'm almost excited for her to have a longer break between the 3rd book and the 4th book, because I think her writing will ultimately be better if she feels comfortable, like, doing what she needs to get the story where it belongs, versus, like, where this had a lot of pacing issues for me and, like, things felt disjointed.
Yeah. That's why I just feel like if we wait, if you are actually given that time and you don't deliver this time, it's just kind of like, at this point, it's speaking to your writing.
Because 4th one was really incredible. And, like, when you look at, like, that is the first book, like, that was a breakout novel. Like, that was incredible. That was so good. So she has it in her. And I know we're talking atmosphere, but this really plays into writing as well. Like, we're also addressing writing here. It just did feel rushed. You can tell that she's on a crunch, and she's Rebecca fucking Yarros. Like, push it back, babe.
I know she was probably, like, stuck in a contract that she could not break.
I know.
But, like, her writing suffered for it, and I'm almost, like, I almost want her to rewrite it in the future, like, when she has more of that oomph behind her name, like, when the series is done, and, like, to get the Onyx Storm that she would have wanted to written if she had had the time and space to do it.
Yeah.
Because there is a good story in here somewhere. We just didn't get the full version.
Right.
Okay, so with that being said, unless you guys have anything to add to Atmosphere, cool. The next thing we are going to talk about is writing, and I think we covered that fairly well. I think we all agreed it was pretty disjointed, and, like, it had pacing issues really. That's my biggest thing with books. Like, I read a lot of high fantasy shit. Like, I'm used to a lot of boring prose about things that drive normal people nuts. But, like, you have to find ways to make the boring sections of books that you feel like you need to have for your plot to advance still interesting for the reader. And I think that's something she doesn't do well in this book. Like, I couldn't tell you what happened for the large chunk in the middle of the book.
Yeah.
Like, I know they went to the islands at the end, and I know in the beginning she formulated Quest Squad.
And at the end, what the fuck? With the ending.
We'll get to that. I want to do that at the end because I feel like that's what Okay. Anyone want to add to writing?
No.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about the plot.
Okay, so the plot. We've already talked about pacing issues. The plot kind of got lost a little bit. It felt rushed. It felt like things were put in like random places that didn't make too much sense. I will say that, like you said, like the beginning, formulating that was good. I think we did some pretty good world building as far as like the Isles. I just think that we could have made it better. Like, I think that could have been so much better. I thought it was really cool. Her dad leaving journals. That was really cool. That was like a really cool addition. And like having it be like she needed to figure out these spells. And they were saying it in our faces in the very beginning that like a writer's first love is their dragon. They said it from the very beginning.
That too. I was a little upset about that.
What do you mean?
That them journals were mentioned and you were only there for figuring out the first one, and it was just kind of like, oh, we figured out the rest.
Figured out the rest.
And it was like, I really thought that would be so cool.
I wanted
you to
more
add
from the journals.
It just felt like, I don't know, it felt like a part of Violet that we should have gotten but lost. Because that is supposed to be her thing right there.
Are we talking about Asher's journals? Her dad's
Her
journals?
dad left.
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
Yeah. So we get the first one where it's her mom's dragon. That's the name, right? So like we got that. And that was a great tell for the end of the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think you're
I think she could have used that as a good device.
Right.
And
So-
it was lost.
I think that was great. The fight scene at that shop, though, that was so dumb. That was so
That was,
dumb.
like,
It
pointless.
was so unnecessary. Like, everyone can see that that's Violet Sorrengail. Like, just stop. Please stop. Like, I just felt so unnecessary to me. And I think they could have made that so much better. And then, like, the riddles that she had to answer about, like, in order to get the books, Violet had to answer these riddles to the old woman there. And I just think that was stupid, too. Like, they weren't even, like, challenging. Like, I would have liked to see her flex her brain.
That's
fight
why
on
the
this one.
journals made me mad, because it felt like
Well,
she's
I
such
feel
a smart character, and she did well to show us most of that, but then you had an opportunity to really let us see it in action, and you missed it.
Okay, we're gonna fight. First of all, I'm finding this funny. I'm noticing a trend of you guys rating this book so much higher than me, but I'm the one who's defending it to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, you mentioned the fights being unnecessary. I understand, yeah, maybe, but I wasn't mad at them. I think there was too many, like, at different points of the book, but I actually liked seeing how complete badass these guys are. Like, these are trained killers, and seeing them in comparison to people who aren't trained at Basgiath, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, was actually really interesting to me, and I feel like it made the Venom all the more terrifying for it, because these badass fighters who, like, sweep through dozens and dozens of average people, like, have trouble taking on one Venom. Like, I thought that was actually kind of a cool juxtaposition that you wouldn't have otherwise seen.
Yeah.
Okay. And the questions we're going to fight about, because I actually loved those questions. I feel like a lot of people would have expected, like, just pure knowledge-based questions. Like, do you know this, and this fact? Like, the kind of shit you get in middle school versus what you got, which are the kind of questions you see in, like, university and college. Like, how do you analyze this? What are your own thoughts on this information as it was presented to you? So, like, she was asked the question about what was it that she believed. Let me see if I can remember exactly. What did she believe that was supposed to be provided to the Crovlins during the Second Crovlin Uprising, the one that was hidden from history, essentially? Like, she had to draw her own conclusions. And you could tell very early on when she first read it, she figured it out, but she wasn't happy about it because it said a lot about Navarre being willing to give up dragon eggs, because that's what it was. They were willing to give up dragon eggs.
I didn't have really that much beef with the questions. I don't know. They didn't bother me that much. I don't know. That scene didn't stick out that special to me.
Unless, like, these things that she asked come back in the next book, like, I don't care. I think it's stupid. Like, right now, they're not very big. Like, it's just, like she said, like, she doesn't even remember.
Yes, they are.
I don't mind the questions as much as I minded the journals. The questions, I think, like Liz said, it made sense that they're personal.
Yeah.
Because you don't want, he was a scribe, he taught so many people.
That actually,
It makes sense. He can have so many people that are trained to think the same way as her because he's taught her whole life.
Yeah.
So the personal questions made sense to me.
Yeah.
The journals, on the other hand, fuck you for saying that.
Really quick with this plot, okay? Really quick. Oh my god. No, what was I just gonna say? Alright, keep talking, because I forgot. I got so upset and I forgot.
So, about the dragon eggs, and you saying you didn't even remember and you don't think it's going to come up. Do you guys remember? It was like a throwaway line at the end of the book, like the very end of the book. She mentions that there's 6 dragon eggs missing.
No?
I don't remember that, but I did think the dragon eggs. I thought they were going to come back up anyway because it's when they went to the other veils. That was something. Like I don't remember it at the end, but when they went to the other veils, that was something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Because the other aisles were like, we want a dragon.
Yes,
So
that's
it
what
was
they
such a
all want.
coveted thing that that it felt like important.
Yep.
But it I don't know, it was just part of the way the writing was, so it felt so hectic. It was one of them things that it felt like I lost.
Yeah. So we definitely need to do like a theory episode on the Imperium and what we think is coming for books 4 and 5. But I will just touch on my theory for what I think is coming in the next books. I think Garrick used his second signet, his distance wielding, to take 6 eggs from the Orishan hatching ground to one of those isles for aid as part of the deal. And then I think Bodhi is the brother, the Venom brother who returned.
Oh my god.
And I think that Imogen erased her memory because this was a deal she made with Xaden as part of their wedding pact. Yeah. But she knew that she would be considered a traitor, not just to Navarre, but like to all dragon kind if it was known that she took part in this deal, but they knew that their aid was so necessary that I think that's what happened. That's my theory.
I don't really have a strong theory for what I think is coming. Honestly, I don't. Like the next book I think is going to be all about getting her memory back because there's so many, like, it's almost like the plot of everything important in all of the books. Like, you know what you don't remember. You know what you don't remember. And it's all about, like, Violet. You know it's in there, but you don't remember.
I swear to God, though, if the next book is like a woe is me, I don't have my memories, and I don't have my husband, and he's ASIM, I'm gonna scream. Okay? Like, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, this kind of leads nicely into the next part of CAWPILE, which is intrigue.
Who the fuck is the brother? Like, the Venom brother?
It's Bodhi.
Oh my god, no, stop.
Segment over.
Stop, no. Like, that, I was like, the whole time reading it, I was like, who is it? Oh my god, just like flipping the pages, like, who is it? I need to know who it is. And,
she said in an interview, it was who wasn't there at the end.
And who
that's
always thinks that he's lacking something, that whatever he has been given isn't enough.
And I see, when I heard that, I thought Mira. Because how hard they fought in this book, that Mira felt like her dad didn't think she was
Are
enough.
they all called brothers?
No, I don't think so.
Are they all called brothers? Yeah,
it's an interesting theory, and I would be with you if you said sister.
We have to look and see if Theophany, right? That's how we're saying it. If she's called anything like particular, because they might just refer to the whole as
her. I've only ever heard of men.
No, she fought a female dark wielder in the first book.
Did she?
At Athbane. Is that where they fought? Athbane?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I would like to look back and see if they say, because that would be a crazy thing.
Yeah.
If it was Mira, that would be.
But I see, like, I don't know if I believe it, but it was something that if she was trying to do it, she did it. You know what I mean? Like, if she was trying to confuse you, she did it.
Yeah.
Because there was like, every time Mira was around, it was harped so hard on how her dad didn't think she was enough.
It's true.
For intrigue as well, what I think we could have done better, Rebecca, is when Andarna left and severed the bond. Hello. Oh my god, I was so intrigued. I was just like insane. Like, oh my god, what is going to happen right now? Like, are we serious? Is she really doing this? How long is she going to be gone? I personally think that she should have left Andarna and gone the entire book. For the entire rest of the book. I think we should have gotten to see Violet navigate that grief and then really get just slammed at the end of the book with, like, what happened with Xaden. Like, I wish Andarna would have been gone longer. Because that was so interesting to me. I felt like that had such great potential, and, like, I just wanted more. Oh my god. With the whole
would have changed the end, though. Because Andarna was the one who saved them when the thing was coming down. So it would have changed the end. But I don't know if
I think there were ways to do it.
I don't think you're wrong that she should have waited to bring her back.
Yeah. And real quick,
but I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the earrings.
Fuck the earrings. What do you mean you're, like, depressed? You're upset. You're disappointed in Andarna. You left her in war territory. You wanted her to not, like,
you. And what kills me is you literally say, like, we came to see if you were like them because we don't like them.
The earrings
and then
feel
you're
like
mad that she's like them after you just said you left her with them for all this time. What did you think she was going to do?
Literally. They feel like the epitome of a symbol for privilege.
Yes.
But in a way that's so frustratingly, like, beating you over the head with it. Like, oh, well, you're supposed to be peaceful. Can you imagine leaving them in a war-torn
Just
society? And she
because
wants
you're
to
an
be,
Erid, you should just know.
Yeah.
bitch, you're supposed to be this wise species that have evolved beyond, like, being a warfaring dragon kind. Like, you're supposed to be so evolved. How do you not understand that there is a difference between nature and nurture, and they both have an effect on children? Like,
And
bro.
they really spoke to like the I don't know if I'm thinking of the right word, but like the government there.
Yeah.
Like the Irids were the equal.
Yeah.
So
Like,
we're
stupid.
so much better than everybody. Everybody should just know how to do it like us. We're not going to support anybody who doesn't, and we shouldn't have to tell you.
Yeah.
And you know what I thought was strange? It's that Andarna waited to hatch for Violet.
Mhm.
So what is that dynamic there? What did, like, if the Irid was waiting to hatch for Violet, like, then what?
Yeah.
Violet's not necessarily peaceful, and she was supposed to go to the scribe quadrant. So, like, what exactly did they think was going to happen? Was this already, like, destined that she was going to wake for Violet? And then if that's the case, then why did you guys think just leaving her there would make her peaceful? I don't fucking understand it. I don't
I think
understand.
there's definitely something we still don't understand about Violet's past. Like, there's something there about her, like, being dedicated. That's the word, dedicated. About her being dedicated to the war goddess whose name I can't remember right now. Dune. To her being dedicated to Dune that affects her powers in some way, and something about the Irid powers. But, like, I don't know what's going on with that situation. The whole Irid thing just irritated the crap out of me. For them to be like, oh, well, this is the worst thing in the world. You failed miserably.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
What do you mean?
I didn't know it was a test. So, like, 50 pages later, they're like, we've saved the world. You're welcome. And Darna's back. It's all good.
Yeah, that
We're here.
frustrating.
Bitch.
That was really frustrating.
That felt like she wrote herself into a corner for the next book that we haven't seen yet. I feel like she needs them to be there early on for some reason. And she realized afterwards, like, shit, I set myself up for failure here. They need to come back for some reason.
Yeah.
Some don't work for me there. Bother me. All right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
All right, so the next part is logic. That actually kind of tracks.
Logic, none. No. Okay.
I feel like these are really good questions. Can I ask them?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you able to follow the rules of the world?
Oh. So the rules of the world essentially, like, are to fight, to be a rider, to be a flyer, and really to just survive. And then, you know what? When we talk about rules specifically, when you talk about, like, these bargains and these deals that they made and all of the, like, politics going on, there were a lot of rules to follow, especially with the different isles and the way that they did, like, their laws and their, like, how they did things. It was really interesting to see how everyone else was so different. So I feel like, yeah, I followed the logic in a sense, seeing, like, I just thought it was so cool. With, like, them finding dolphins. I thought that was so
I'm sorry, the
cute.
dolphinium.
Yeah.
I think they're traveling really related to them to us, rather than it feeling like it was a dystopian, you know, where they're from and stuff, but it really related them to, you know, what we see.
Yeah.
You know, the real, like I
Felt
loved
real.
when they went to the beaches and stuff. You know, I pictured, like, palm trees and, like, pretty
Yeah.
clear blue water, and I'd love to see, like, almost picture, like, what they would be like in our cities.
Yeah.
Which is, like, you know, like I said, I loved all the Isle things. I just didn't like where she was.
I feel you. That's the one thing. The way I read that question is, like, can you follow the logic of, like, whatever the natural laws are in this world? So when I think of that, especially in fantasy books, I tend to think of the magic system first. And one thing I have to give Rebecca Yarros, like, all of the credit in the world for is even when we don't have, like, the blatant rules spelled out for us, like, I couldn't read out all the rules of how their magic works. You can tell that they follow the same consistent logic throughout, whether or not we understand it yet. And guessing at it based on what we know is so much fun. And honestly, I think that's why the series is so, like, popular, because theorizing about it is so much fun, because she's given us all these really fun breadcrumbs and they're consistent throughout. So you don't feel cheated out of anything. Like, I love that about this series and about her writing in general.
Yeah. I would, that's a really good interpretation of the question. I think that, yeah, I mean, like, her magic there are signets, they do follow rules.
Mhm.
They do. And it's pretty consistent. You're right. The dreams for Violet, that was weird. I don't understand what's happening with that. I don't like it. I don't like it. Like, I don't like that she could do that. And then when Andarna was like not there, she could still be in people's dreams. So like, what is going on with that?
I don't.
She has said in interviews though that Violet's signet is only like 50%. She's not done.
Less than that, right? For that
Yeah,
segment?
but-
Yeah.
But
So
how-
that I think it's meant to be confusing.
Yeah.
Because I think she's going to be able to do a lot with the Irid. So like,
And that's what it
It
that's
could
what
be
it's
part of
sounding
it.
like from
Mhm.
interviews and stuff that what we think she is not what she is.
Yeah.
And she's really gonna turn the tide when she finds out. And she has said like in the interviews how important her signet is gonna be.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So like, if it is just dream walking, like I'm going to be annoyed. But I think that they're not dreams that Zayden's having. I think that they're visions.
Mhm.
I'm going more vision route, and we don't know if the general and like the dark wielders can also communicate through dreams like that. And for him to be having consistently the same nightmare over and over again, like, I don't know, that might actually be a vision and not necessarily a nightmare that she's able to get into. You know?
Yeah.
With her being so, they kind of bring up and almost attach her to this god. You could almost visualize prophecies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, there's so much to talk
So
about
I,
with this
thi-
book.
I think the gods are going to become more important.
I agree. So really quick going back, I actually forgot to mention, I saw this really, really cool theory that I'm now a huge fan of. I saw this theory that the general, whoever they are, is a dreamwalker, or if that's a misnomer, like whatever the same kind of intrinsic that Violet is, he is the same thing. So the fact that we're seeing him like walking into Zayden's dreams and Violet isn't seeing him and he's recognizing Violet like in them is because they have the same intrinsic power. And I think that's cool as shit. Like they're
That'd
each
be
other's
cool.
answer.
Yeah.
That's another one I've seen I really like.
That'd be
I
cool.
think the line like with magic in this world, like everything is in balance.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
I think
that's
she did that really well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's-
She did that really
true.
well.
Let me ask about the gods real quick because you brought them up. So do you guys think that the gods are they're going to turn into like tangible beings that our characters interact with in some way? Or do you think they're still like deities that are mentioned but not actually?
I'm gonna go blessed by gods and less gods present. I'm gonna go like this child was dedicated to Dune, like she's going to be touched by Dune. That's my thought process.
I almost feel like that's where the dreams are going to be important. You know, like I think that's how it's going to be. That's how it's going to be like deceiving for us for a little bit about her being a dreamwalker. Is
because it could have nothing to do with
like the dreams, like they almost seem like prophecies. So
Yeah.
I feel like the dreams for now could be
it could be
the
less
gods'
Andarna
communication.
and
Yeah.
more Dune. Yeah, that's okay.
It's interesting. I have no idea myself. I just think it's a really fun question.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I love JRPGs when people fight gods. I think that's just so fun. But I don't necessarily think that's where she's going with this. But I do think there is something more to like being dedicated to a goddess or being like a high priestess or whatever it is. I think that has its own power to it. And that's mentioned in one of the epigraphs too, that the closest you get to the power of the gods is being fully dedicated to that god. The only other way to do it is being a rider. And I think it's interesting that Violet is, as far as we know in the history of this world, she's the first one who's ever been half dedicated to a goddess and is a rider. So maybe that's part of what gives her unique powers. I don't know. Now I'm just like going off the rails. But
Oh, that's okay. That's a really good theory.
I think it's
Our theory episode for this is
gonna be so fun.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to the last The last part of the CAWPILE system is enjoyment. Overall, did you guys enjoy this book?
I did. Yeah, I did. Because it's in this world. Okay?
Yeah.
I enjoyed this book because it's in the Empyrean series. Because I'm surrounded by some of my favorite characters. Because we're exploring this magic and we have these theories, right? That means that we're like actively putting the effort in to like read and critically think about like what we're reading. So yeah, I like overall enjoyed it. While I have critiques, it just wasn't perfect for me. But overall, like, yeah, I definitely enjoyed the book. I did. Hated the ending. Ending is trash. Hated it. But there were so many like good, enjoyable moments in this book for me that I did enjoy it.
Nice. What about you, Pooh?
I don't know. I don't want to say I didn't enjoy it, but I don't know. I couldn't put it down, but not always for the right reasons. You know what I mean? I have a very much love-hate relationship. Like,
Me too.
Like you said, it's important because of the characters, and I loved all of the character building. Like, I think that is one thing
Except for Imogen.
that was so strong here. I mean, it was nice to see, you know, just to see. And I think it's important because I think it would have made Quinn's death not as important as if they had just said it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that was, you know, and maybe that was just the opening for her and Garrett finally getting married. Which, you know, like, we're getting on before.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
I would read the shit out of that sex scene.
So I don't know. I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it, but I don't know. Like, I enjoyed it, but I didn't at the same time. Even the parts that I didn't completely enjoy all of it, but I was hooked in enough that even the parts I hated, I couldn't.
Yeah.
You need to work on your rating system.
You guys did. You both rated this book a 4. I rated it a 2.5, and I defended the book to you the whole time.
I don't know. I never changed my rating but I rated it right after I read it when everything was still so fresh and exciting in my head. And then remember right after I deep dived into it.
Yeah.
And read like 4 fanfics. So like,
change the brain chemistry.
yeah.
Yeah.
But now, like, with us talking more about it, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Yeah. I just, it lacked
What would
a
you
lot.
change your rating to?
I think I would be generous and give her 3.
Okay.
'Cause even though I hated the way she did some things, I still love them. You know.
Yeah.
Like I love the world. I just feel they were ill placed. You know?
Yeah.
I love seeing all the relationships. It just felt like this isn't the time.
She
You know?
deserves a 4 from me. I'm so strong on this 4 because she made me feel such raw emotion for Mira when they almost killed her. I was sobbing.
Yeah.
Okay, I was crying when I thought Tarn died in the beginning of the book. I was like, no fucking way is she gonna kill Tarn. Like I was
There was a lot of death calls
Like,
in this.
yeah, there was a lot. Like,
But
and
we already love these characters too. So
I
it's
know.
not like you did that in this book, you know.
It's kind of funny.
And I have to be fair to that.
You did. Don't. No, look, I am the most emotional drama baby. Like, my partner will tell you, I cry everything. Like, he literally sat next to me in book while I didn't cry for Mira.
No.
I didn't cry for Mira.
You
I didn't cry
know my
for
first
Tarn.
thought
I didn't cry for Tarn because I knew he was safe because it was the beginning of the book, and I don't think she would do us a dirty million. She saves that shit with cliffhangers. I didn't cry for Mira. I was not worried about her at all. I cried for Quinn, and I barely knew Quinn. I felt like it was so unearned, but I'm such an emotional baby that her goodbye to Imogen got me.
See, but I think, like I said, I don't think Quinn's death.
So sad.
I don't think Quinn's death would have been that important if it wasn't introduced the way it was.
Yeah, you're so right. Like, it felt cheap, but because I love Imogen so much, I'm like, some people.
yeah, why am I cuddling with you? I'm not cuddling with you, you bitches. No, you didn't cry for Mira. You don't want to hear about Imogen.
I don't know. I think it was, maybe it was lost because Quinn did feel like she was supposed to be an important part of the by my blanking on the word, of Zayden's side.
Yeah.
Whatever the word I'm looking for is.
Well, she's not a marked one, but she was
Yeah.
Imogen's best friend.
Yeah, and she felt like she was supposed to be so important to that side.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe she lost that along the way. So the death didn't
something
have
that got
what it
edited
should.
out.
But Mira, on the other hand, no, I cried. And my first thought was, why wasn't this Brennan? It's terrible.
Oh shit! I'm gonna fight Brennan because I believe in Brennan.
He's a fucking traitor.
Me too.
Because remember, Nolan, or whatever his name was, is supposed to be his partner. If he changed him, he didn't die.
Outright.
So you're his fucking end, you traitor.
I think
You're your man's end, and that's fucked up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
did you enjoy it?
But, you know,
No, dude, I'm so with you. Like, I also think Brennan's a traitor, but that's for the
Basically,
theories
like-
episode.
like Violet and Zayden, but older generations,
Yep,
you know?
yep.
Like, I'm not going to give up on you because you're a
Yep.
man.
He's got the hopeless thing that Tyler does. I'm so with
The
you.
theory episode is just going to be us talking so much shit.
Oh my God.
All right.
All right. No, overall, I enjoyed it. No, you know what? Honestly, I felt very meh about this book. There were parts of it I absolutely adored, but I literally I finished that last section, and Rebecca's even talked about this in interviews, how like that book ends right at the end of the page, and then you turn it and it feels like there should be more and there's not.
Yeah,
like I finished it, and I was like, the fuck? She even said she wouldn't do that if she had the choice, but it's just how the book ended.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I finished it, and I didn't have the what the fuck moment. I didn't have the, oh my God, what just happened moment. I was like, what did I just read? Like, this wasn't even satisfying. Like, this was
I think the end
irritating.
was so chaotic, it was hard to take it.
Yeah.
You know, it was like so many questions and so many plot lines for different part of the books that you just like. It felt like rather than it feel like I don't think she was. I think what she was trying to do was connect it all, and I don't think she connected. And more, I felt like she threw it all together. Had she written it differently and connected it, it would have been different. But instead, it felt like we were reading 5 stories from the other.
Yeah. It's very frustrating.
But I did enjoy a lot of the books, not all of it.
Yeah. All right.
So I guess with all this said and done, we're going to have to fix our average rating.
Yeah.
Because you... What? Which is fine. It's
You're
fine. I'm the only one standing on my my stance here. So Liz, what is our new average rating?
Our final average rating, with Pooh rating the book at a 3, a generous 3, Gammy standing hard at a solid 4, always hard, and me sitting at a 2.5. Fantastic. That's great for YouTube. Where our new final rating between the three of us is a solid 3.1. I don't know. That's better than average.
Good out of 5.
3 is
Yeah.
fine.
Good out of 5.
3 is like an average rating.
Yeah,
It's like
I think
a very
3 is worth it, but you maybe didn't stand out.
Yeah, and I feel like this one gets a little like half bump because of the rest of the series. We all loved the rest of the series, and like it's a middle book, and she had editing problems, so I understand.
It's fine. We forgive you,
Yeah.
Becca. Don't do us dirty on the next one. All right, guys. So that's all we have for this episode of Overbooked and Opinionated. If you guys have any recommendations for us, anything that you would like to hear us cover, any series that you guys want us to start, that would be so evil if they're unfinished. But please go ahead and drop a comment, send us a message, email us, do whatever you'd like. We want to hear from you. We want to talk to you. We want you to be a part of the book club. So tell us your opinions. Even if you just strongly disagree with us, feel free to share. We would love to kind of conversate with you guys and see really how you felt about Onyx Storm. Does your rating kind of align with our average rating? Or are you more like me and we're just a little bit over the average? Let us know because we really do. We want to know. You guys have any questions for listeners?
I don't think so. I really just want to know your theories. Like, send us all of your favorite theories, whether or not you came up with them, because I swear that is why this series is so popular. Because theorizing about it and what's coming in the future books is so much fun that regardless of whether you loved the series or it's your favorite of all time or it's a 5-star read, theorizing about it's fun as shit.
Yeah.
And we love the theory that goes back to the first 2 books.
Oh,
We
right.
love- if you can pull something from the first 2 and be like, this is why I think this, we love it.
Yeah, and if you guys send us your theories, we can actually talk about them on the pod and see. We'll address them. We'll talk about it in like real time, and it'll be so much fun. You guys will be a part of the conversation with us. We would absolutely love for that to happen.
Let us know who you think took the biggest L this episode, who you want to fight the most.
Who had the most outrageous opinion, and why was it Serenity about images? All right,
I
guys.
can't help it.
I think that's
She's not that important. Right?
Oh my God!
Here we go. Here we go.
And I really like Eric.
That's honestly the thing.
Whatever.
It's Wendy and Woody all over again.
I know. We're back. Full circle.
Alrighty, we'll try and keep it on track. Thank you guys for checking out our first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed being a part of our book club. We'll see you guys in the next one. Our next episode will be releasing again at the same time as this one, so if you liked what you saw here in our Yappathon, please join us for our next episode, which will be a Hear Me Out, where I will try and convince Pooh and Gammy, and the rest of you, if you haven't read it yet, to read Manacle by Sen Lin Yu. She is a fan fiction writer who is actually publishing a full, completely original version of this story in the coming year, but I still maintain that the fan fiction is worth reading, and you don't have to read Harry Potter first. It's a Germaine fanfic.
Well, I am looking forward to this Hear Me Out, and I can't wait to see what you have to say about it. So, oh man, good luck.
It's gonna, neither of them have read Harry Potter. Pooh's read the first 2.
Yeah.
James hasn't read any of them. It's going to be a wild ride.
All right, guys. Does anybody have anything else?
No.
All right. With
See
that,
you guys in the next one.
we're done. We did it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for bearing with us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't make me dance to the tune that you're humming. No, my body don't move like that. Don't make me pretend I don't see your shortcomings. You'll be running when I raise the black flag.
I can't believe I'm finally doing this. I'm finally recording the outro for our first ever podcast episode. This is kind of crazy. Thank you guys so much for listening to our first ever episode. We are so excited. We had so much fun making this. Even though the audio quality is a little bit cooked, I promise it gets better in the future episodes. But if you're here, you made it all the way through, you're either an absolute champion or you're probably more than likely one of our support systems. So thank you so much. Shout out significant others and parents who are here. But if you're here looking for the good stuff, you can find us on social media. We are on Facebook at Overbooked and Opinionated, on Instagram at Overbooked.opinionated, on TikTok at Overbooked Opinion, and finally, you can find our book club on Fable. Join us if you would like to. Just for those who don't know, Fable is a social reading app where you can share your thoughts on books and find new ones, and it is where our book club has lived ever since before it was even a podcast. We absolutely love it. We're not sponsored. We just like it that much. Finally, we are really excited to see you guys in our next episode. I promise the audio quality, it gets better. It's not perfect. It's better. I'm learning. What can you do? Alrighty, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you again so much. See ya.